Hello, good to see you again. Good to spend some time with you. Hopefully, you've had a good day, week, whatever it happens to be since we last spent some time together. And I hope that things are moving forward. I know it's still the beginning of the year, but you'll be surprised how quickly January's over and we're already into February. For me, at least, the days seem to fly by these days. I remember when I was at school, everything seemed to go very, very slowly. I couldn't wait for the end of the day, and every week seemed to drag on. It certainly seems to be the opposite now that I'm very much an adult and been an adult for quite some time, and even with kids now at school and stuff, they talk about even the days moving on very quickly. What I wanted to talk about today was just a very simple sort of thing that I think sometimes we have, and it reminds me where I get this from is it reminds me of a quote, and I think it's I'm a huge Beatles fan, and I think it's a John Lennon song, and it, there's a line in one of his songs, and I can't remember the song for now, but anybody who remembers the actual song, and I might try and remember it. It's sort of life is what happens while we're busy making other plans, and I think that's a very true for a lot of us, that we're always busy doing stuff, and then along comes something that knocks us for six, and we're not even sure. I know last year two things happened to me. Obviously, my father died, and then I got made redundant towards the end of the year. And those things really did knock me about. And the first one certainly continues to. My father, it's coming up to the anniversary of his death, and that's I'm thinking about that with trepidation. But I know when I had those sort of things, my father was a key figure in my life, and he was, I think, for most young men, and probably for even older men, your father is always sort of the person that you sort of think is the indestructible one. He's always there for you. He's always ready to help, or at least I hope he is in your case. He's the one that's ready to dish out any bit of sound advice, and even sort of say things like "I told you so," or "Why didn't you listen to me about that?" Which, yeah, sometimes thinking that that's not great. But he certainly was the sort of rock where, I mightn't have seen him very often because I was in a completely different city. But just knowing he was there was a huge comfort to me, that I knew he was around and I could tap into him whenever I needed to. That he's not there, it really is quite upsetting, and it's really quite difficult sometimes. I think about him constantly, and I realise that I'll never get to talk to him again. And I know there's heaps of other people in the same sort of situation, and maybe some people didn't even have their father for as long as I had mine. But the situation that I'm sort of talking about is that life comes along and it'll throw us a curveball. I think everybody in the world felt COVID when it hit. It was certainly a curveball for everybody. There's constant curveballs going on all the time. We know what's happening around the world all the time, and things are happening that are beyond our control. And we've got to sort of realise that sometimes, through our best intentions and all our best planning and everything like that, life will still come along, and suddenly we'll be knocked for six, and we'll have to pick up our pieces and start again. And I think what I really want to sort of get across is that this is going to happen constantly within your life. And it's about building up a little bit of resilience, because life will happen. Some of it will be really good. There'll be some really highs, and you'll sort of think this is fantastic. And, I've experienced those as well. And then there's also stuff that's really quite painful, whether it's physical or mental, emotional, whatever it happens to be. And they're the ones that we really need to sort of make sure that we've got our support network, but we're also aware that these sort of things are not our fault, and that it's just life going through things, and just happening around us, things that we can't control, and just keeps on. We just need to keep on going at that point in time. we can take a moment to make sure that we're okay. It's not about just railroading over it and sort of saying, oh, it didn't happen. But it really is about just sort of making sure that we're doing fine, and that we actually sort of make sure that things are going on as we think they should be as well. So, that quote, "Life happens while we're busy making other plans," is very symbolic of how life is, I think, at this point in time. We are constantly making plans. We've got things that we want to do and stuff, and then things happen that we don't expect. And so therefore we need to sort of make sure that those things are taken into consideration, and that we do what we need to do. So be mindful that life will continue on, and it'll throw you some curveballs. And you just need to sort of be able to build up that resilience over time and sort of realize that these things will happen. And it's not anything to do with you. It's just things that are going on in their life and stuff like that. So you just got to deal with it. All right. Hopefully that was interesting, and hopefully your life is going along quite nicely at this point in time. But be aware that life will throw something up at some stage. All right. Look after yourself. Hope you're going well. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.